All right. Do you guys have any questions for me? Anything? My favorite color? No, you probably don't want to know my favorite color, but anything. Yes, ma'am. I should say yes, but no. I do write most days, and this is something that I'm working on. Um, like I said, I'm new at this. Um, I've never I had never written a book before. Maybe a few essays and short stories, things like that. But I'm aware of the fact that a lot of writers have a very strict writing schedule. Um, Stephen King had said, he has a very routine thing that he does. He gets up, he makes his tea at 9 o'clock, he starts writing, and he writes for 3 hours, and he's done every day. And it's kind of funny. I follow Stephen on some Substack thing, and he posts something in his Substack every day. It may be a 500 word short something, but he does it every day. No, not yet. Oh, on writing. Yes, that's one of my favorite books. Yeah, the Stephen King book on writing is a roadmap for writers. I think it's great. I saw an interview with Stephen, and it's funny. He said, because he's so, as far as modern authors go, he's our modern day Hemingway. I mean, he is the guy that everybody knows. But he said, somebody was saying, so how do you write? How do you structure your stories? And he said, I never let a plot get in the way of a good story. And everyone was laughing at him. And he said, really? He said, I don't know what I'm going to do when I get into the book. I just let the story take me where it leads. And I thought, that's exactly the opposite of what everybody says I'm supposed to do. But yeah, that's what he does. But yes, I do try to write every day. My schedule's a little herky jerky because I work a real job when I'm not writing. So a lot of times it's on my lunch hour or after I come home from work, I'll sit down and I'll write a little bit. Honestly, I'll keep my phone open with me at work, and I'm a cabinet maker, and so when I'm in a monotonous routine, sometimes I'll just have my phone and I'll just dictate things that I want to write when I get home. My phone will be full of random thoughts and stuff that I'll have to dissect when I get home. So, anyway, I hope that answers that. Anything else? Anything about the book? This. Um, it wasn't a career move. It's not a business thing. The idea of selling it was not really the idea originally. My wife is a big fan of Southernism. She loves Steel Magnolias. How many times have we watched Steel Magnolias? Never enough. But she loves that whole genre. And I hate to say this, but I need to have something to do. And so I had recently stepped down from 13 years of leading worship at our church, which is it requires a lot of input. So once I did not have that to do, I needed something to do, and I thought I would just write something that I thought might make her laugh. And wrote a few chapters, and she did laugh, and she seemed to enjoy it, and that just was fuel on the fire for me, and next thing I know, we're almost, we're 20,000 words into this book, and that's really how it came together. And so then when I decided to, okay, let's just do this through Amazon's publishing thing, and then make it for sale. And then, well, let's tell people about it on Facebook. And next thing we knew, it's really rolling. And that's how it all came together. Yes, ma'am. So you did it through Amazon Publishing? I did. Can you explain a bit about Yeah, yeah. It's a pretty user-friendly process, obviously, because millions, I guess, of writers are using it. Um, um, Once I finished the manuscript, did my editing, formatting, blah 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 blah, got it ready. Then I just upload it and uh, went into Canva, designed the cover. Wanted this to be as free as possible, and through a little bit of trial and error, just kind of pulled it all together. And it's a free publishing thing through Kindle, Kindle Direct Publishing, or KDP. And they take a certain percentage of the sales, but they make it available on Amazon. The drawback is it's only on Amazon. So, um, and that kind of leads me into, so the next step is the next saga that I'm in now, which is pursuing a traditional publishing route. And so getting with someone like a Simon Schuster or Penguin or somebody like that, that might be, I might as well say, sure, I want to put out an album with Kenny Chesney or something. Yeah, it's almost impossible for an independent writer to make that leap. But I'm finding out that those publishers won't speak with me. They will only speak with an agent who represents me. Well, then that's a whole saga to find an agent because they're pretty discerning too. So that's what I'm in right now. I'm actually I'm writing, and I'm looking for an agent to represent me. So I've sent out about 100 what we call queries. They're just, hey, will you represent me? Here's my stuff. Um, and I've gotten about 35 rejections, which is heartbreaking, but I'm keeping those, and I'm putting them in a notebook, and that's my tackling fuel. And that's what I'm using to inspire me to keep on. I do have two publishers, or two agents, though, that have said, we like it, please send us a full manuscript, which is, that's a plus. So anyway, long story short, this whole process could take years. It could take, most authors say that it takes a couple of years to go from concept to bookshelf. So it could take a while, but I don't have anything else to do except please my wife. And so if she likes it, then I'm just going to keep doing it. And if it doesn't work, this is what she and my kids both keep reminding me of. And if you don't know me, then you may not realize that I have a very obsessive personality. So if I decide I want to make fake eucalyptus plants, I will think about nothing else but that for 6 months, and it will consume me. So I'm trying very hard to consciously say, just enjoy doing this. Do not make it a business. Don't make it some huge thing. So I'm trying not to chase the gold ring. I'm trying to just enjoy it, and it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. So, hope that answers that. Yes, ma'am. Can you tell a little bit about your inspiration for the characters? No. No, we are part. Being a part of a small town is a blessing and a curse. I mean, I have lived in the Jackson County area essentially my whole life, and um, I think one of the beauties of a small town is most everybody knows most everybody. And just like when you came in, in 2 minutes, we had caught up on 40 years of history. And I love that. But it's also, everybody knows everybody's business. And, I haven't always been a saint. And most of the people that know me probably remember that. that's a little intimidating. But it's great fuel for the book. So a lot of, not all the characters, but a lot of characters are definitely inspired from people that I know. And I don't want to say exactly, who inspired this or that, but um, definitely inspired by people I know. And the town of Magnolia Bluff, while it's purely fictional, um, I did want to draw directly from memories of Jefferson and Commerce because I have family in both on both sides of the river, and so there are some references to actual people and actual businesses in the book, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a direct connection to that business. But I'm just some of the iconic places that I remember, and it's like that in the next book also. There's a lot more of it in there, and uh, so so we've got this book. Then this is the second book, which is about to come out, but it's not out yet. So this is more of the same, just like 3 times as much. And then the third book is what I'm working on now, and it is the characters of Magnolia Bluff have are in Tallulah Falls. And so that's a kind of a new challenge because I'm trying to write about a place that I didn't grow up in, but I still wanted to have that small feel, which Tallulah Falls should be easy to do that. But that's the next challenge, is trying to find inspiration for that, for a real town that I don't really know. So, yeah. Does that? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I have not. I need to give him a book, don't I? I definitely do. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. I should just give him a shout or drop a book by or something like that. Yeah, I think so. I think so. And hopefully, as you're reading through it, if you're from the area, then hopefully see you'll see some quirks or sayings or some personalities in there, and you'll say, I wonder if that is so and so, or I wonder if that was inspired by so and so. I will say a lot of this stuff um, I kind of drew from my family. It was a lot of it, particularly my mama. Um, so she was larger than life to me. So I have to incorporate her in here some ways. Um, in some ways, she could be really outspoken, and I guess that could be a good or a bad thing, depending on what side of it you wound up on. And then sometimes when we're talking, and I'm especially the more that I'm writing, I'm finding myself doing it more and more. When we're talking at home, Krisha will say something, and I'll think, oh, that would be really interesting to incorporate into someone's conversation. So she's very southern, and I love it. And so try to incorporate a lot of that in there. We were also sitting at the ball game the other night, at the football game. I think this was last week. You remember when I showed you what I had typed into my phone? And it was something about somebody went walking by. You know how the kids walk by in front of the stands and all during the ball game. And this kid, it was like they were just loping. It's like I told Krisha, I said it's like they're riding a camel down through there. Their feet were about a foot in front of their body, and I thought, what are they? They're so odd looking. And I thought, this has got to be somebody in some book at some point. And I don't know who that was, and I wouldn't want to like make fun of them. It's not making, to me, I'm not making fun of the recognizable traits about somebody. It's just, I don't know. I hope it's not taken. in a negative way. I would never want to make fun of someone, but I think it's interesting. I think it's in. I probably got some quirks that people would people could incorporate into something. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
How much does your mother like for other people in editing it and giving suggestions?
Oh,
You've written like the final, like what you call it, close to the version.
oh, oh. She is my editor right now. And it's kind of funny you would ask that because so my pattern is I'll write a chapter or I may write 2 or 3 chapters at a time in a sitting or whatever, and then I'll save it and I'll send her a link and I'll say, please read this and tell me what you think. She doesn't always tell me exactly what she thinks, but I'll listen or watch her, and it's kind of funny. So if she's sitting on the couch and I'm sitting in my chair, she's reading, and I'm watching her like a hawk. I'm trying to watch her facial expressions and just see if how she reacts to things, and I'll try to like time it so I can read along with her and think, okay, where is she? Where is she? There are a few passages, like as I'm writing, and this is not to like toot my own horn or anything, but I'll have a passage that as I'm reading through it, it'll really connect with me, and I'll think that was good. I like it, And I remember a passage in the Second Helpings book. Um, I remember sitting there as I'm typing it out and I'm getting teary eyed, and I'm thinking, man, I love this passage. And so I was hoping when I sent it to her, that she would react, and she didn't react in the same way. But she is my editor. And it's funny, when I was pursuing a music career, she she would say, well, she went with me to Nashville. We went to a writers convention up there, and somebody was saying something like, you need to identify your target audience. And and I was like, I've got my target audience right here. She is the person that would listen to these songs, and so she would critique me then, and she is the person that would read these books. So it's great having her. Not always happy about what she says, but she's honest with me, and um, she's very insightful, very insightful. Yeah, so she's definitely my editor. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Were you influenced by any local authors in that area? And the second question, has there ever been a state highway number?
Oh my gosh. Local authors. I'm inspired by a lot of authors. Um, I can't honestly say that I was inspired, that this inspired me um, through reading a local author's work. However, um, I do like some of the local authors, and I will say I I think we were speaking briefly about Janet Schwartz at Janet or Mrs. Schwartz used to be the English teacher at Jefferson High School when I went way back yonder in the 80s. And we were just briefly talking about Miss Schwartz. And while Mrs. Schwartz wasn't an author, she was very much involved in the literary world. And she was very much an influence on me. And even now, it's so weirdly interesting that I can, as I'm writing things, I can imagine her in the background. Ricardo, what are you thinking? Why would you do this? And I was the comma splice king in high school. Um, but anyway, I would say Miss Schwartz would definitely would consider her. She was a great woman. She is a great woman. Yeah. And the highway, uh, when I was pursuing a music career, I did write a song about Highway 98, or the stretch of road that goes from Commerce into Madison County. And because a lot of my family is from that area, and I have a lot of memories of it. So when Tommy Benton was our representative, Tommy took the charge and got the Georgia House to pass a resolution. So they named that stretch of highway for that song. And yeah, that was kind of cool. That was cool. Yeah. It is kind of cool to go by. It's cool, but it's a little unnerving to ride by there and see the sign and see my name up there. But hey, I'll take what I can get.